Origin and etymology. The Leviathan is a massive sea creature found in various religious and mythological traditions, particularly in Jewish, Christian, and ancient Near Eastern lore. The term Leviathan comes from the Hebrew word Leviathan, which means twisted or coiled. In biblical and mythological contexts, Leviathan is often depicted as a gigantic, serpentine sea monster symbolizing chaos, destruction, and untamed natural forces. In ancient Mesopotamian mythology, creatures similar to Leviathan include Tiamat, the primordial goddess of the ocean, who was defeated by the god Marduk. Similarly, the Canaanites had the sea serpent Leviathan, which shared characteristics with the Leviathan. These ancient myths depict monstrous sea creatures as representatives of disorder, which the gods had to subdue to bring order to the world. Role in the Bible and religious texts. Leviathan is most famously mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, particularly in the book of Job, Psalms, and Isaiah. It is often portrayed as a terrifying sea creature that represents God's mastery over even the most fearsome and chaotic forces of nature. Leviathan is frequently used as a symbol of God's power to control the uncontrollable and to subdue even the most dangerous entities. Book of Job, Job 40:1. The most detailed description of Leviathan comes from the book of Job, where God speaks to Job and describes the creature in terms of its immense strength and terrifying appearance. In this passage, Leviathan is depicted as a sea monster with impenetrable scales, fiery breath, and immense power. The description highlights the creature's invincibility, as no man-made weapon could harm it. Psalm 74 verse 14. In the Psalms, Leviathan is portrayed as a multi-headed sea monster defeated by God. It was you who crushed the heads of Leviathan and gave it as food to the creatures of the desert. Here, the creature represents chaos, and its defeat is a demonstration of God's ability to bring order to the cosmos. Book of Isaiah, Isaiah 27 verse 1. In Isaiah, Leviathan symbolizes evil and chaos, which will be destroyed in the future by God. In that day, the Lord will punish with his sword, his fierce, great, and powerful sword. Leviathan the gliding serpent, Leviathan the coiling serpent. He will slay the monster of the sea. Leviathan in Jewish tradition. In Jewish apocalyptic literature, Leviathan takes on additional roles. The creature is often paired with Behemoth, a monstrous land creature, and Ziz, a gigantic bird. According to Jewish legend, Leviathan will be killed at the end of days, and its flesh will be served as a feast for the righteous in the Messianic age. Some texts, such as the Talmud, suggest that there were originally two Leviathans, a male and a female, but God killed the female to prevent them from reproducing, as their offspring would be too powerful and threaten the stability of creation. Leviathan in Christian thought. In Christian interpretations, Leviathan has been associated with the devil or Satan, representing the forces of evil and chaos that oppose God's divine order. The book of Revelation in the New Testament, though it doesn't mention Leviathan by name, depicts a great beast rising from the sea, often seen as a reflection of the earlier Leviathan myth. In Christian theology, Leviathan is sometimes interpreted as a symbol of sin, death, or the Antichrist, embodying the opposition to God's will and the divine plan. Legend and folklore. The Leviathan legend has been linked to seafaring cultures' fears of the deep and unknown oceans. In ancient times, many mariners told tales of enormous sea creatures that could destroy entire ships. These stories were often embellished with descriptions of creatures like the Leviathan, who would rise from the depths to drag sailors and their vessels into the abyss. The creature's size and power made it a common symbol for chaos, storms, and the unpredictable nature of the sea, which could bring sudden destruction without warning. Modern interpretations and influence. Leviathan has continued to influence art, literature, and pop culture. In Thomas Hobbes' 1651 book Leviathan, the sea monster serves as a metaphor for the state or a powerful sovereign. Hobbes uses the image of the Leviathan to represent a strong, centralized government necessary to maintain order in society. In modern fantasy literature and entertainment, Leviathan appears in various forms, usually as a monstrous sea creature or embodiment of chaos and destruction. It is featured in novels, films, television shows, and video games, often depicted as an unstoppable force from the depths of the ocean. For example, in the TV show Supernatural, Leviathans are ancient and powerful creatures that are released from purgatory and wreak havoc on Earth. In other media, Leviathan appears as a sea monster in various fantasy-themed books and games, where it embodies fearsome power and untamable nature. Summary: the Leviathan is a legendary sea monster symbolizing chaos, power, and destruction in biblical texts and ancient mythology. With its origins in the ancient Near East, the creature has become a symbol of the untamable forces of nature and divine mastery over the chaotic world. In religious and cultural traditions, Leviathan represents both the fears of the unknown and the awe-inspiring power of the divine. Its influence persists in modern literature and popular culture, where it continues to serve as a metaphor for great, uncontrollable forces.